go to flipsidegaming.com and use promo code 6 for 10% off on orders over $10. I often purchase dragon shields from them, and I'm just like, I realize I have my dragon shields next to me because I've been putting my, what the hell are these cards called? My Theros cards, I forget, the stargazing things that I just got in the mail. I put them in the dragon shield, and I need to buy more because I plan on buying a lot of good old-fashioned EDH cards. I know this is a Stoneshard video, but if you're watching me, you're most likely a Magic person anyway. Just buy from Flipside Gaming. They're cool, they help support the show, as do the Grizzly Gentleman. I've been trimming my beard recently, but I still got the beard, and really like that pepperminty smell. So go there as well. Both of them are fantastic deals. They help support the show. What is up, mercenaries? Welcome back to Stoneshard, aka Stones Hard, aka I'm nearly level 10, and I did say that at level 10 I would fight the troll. I am not looking forward to it, because I'm... Ooh, excuse me, I'm going to die. Respect the drip. Let's see. So yeah, last we left off, we purchased an updated crossbow with some okay enchantment on it. We started using the occult cloak, and I do not have a quest other than the fucking bison. You know what? Fucking where the bison? Stoneshard bison. Steam, I can view the page. I wish we could lead them to a troll and just be in a map hopping. Their pelts sell really well. I had them in the middle of the map. The fuck? Where? Where the fuck are the bison? Just areas with no trees. That's it. Apparently it doesn't have to be north. For what it's worth, my mans does have another quest for me. So I am going to do an actual quest today. Does there any work? Return the Necromancer, Mysterious Disappearances. Necromancer would be grave stuff, so I'd rather not do grave stuff. The grave, yeah. I'm gonna say no to this. Mysterious Disappearance, the ruins. Yes, I like fighting the vampires. Not just because obviously like it helps with the whole piercing damage stuff, but I just generally like fighting the necromancers more because, or sorry, the vampires more because their dwelling is more gruesome. That's legit a major reason. All right, so we need to go diagonally. So I think what I'm gonna do eventually is scope out this area for bison. Yeah, so we go diagonally up and then to the left. Cool. So we do have something to talk about today. Although it isn't something that is Stoneshard related. It's technically game related. But it also might not be things that people want to hear. Especially from me. Like some random dude on the internet. Recently my time. So, you know, not very recently your time. That's fine. An individual who no, you're just gonna run for me, so I don't care. An individual who does sex work, and I'll get into more details and information, whatever, was recently kicked out of the Wizards sponsored creator program. If you've been on Twitter, I don't know why I'm going this way. I just need to go this way. If you've been on Twitter, you follow Magic people, you probably know what I'm talking about. But suffice it to say, did I go diagonal? Yeah. She was removed from the Wizards Creator program because she violated a guideline. For what it's worth, she did violate the guideline. So I don't technically have issue with them removing her, because technically, I don't have issue with them removing her for that reason, because technically she did violate the guidelines. I do have an issue with that guideline in and of itself. So the first thing I want to say. I can still shoot you though, you punk. Let's do that. Nope. There we go. The first thing I want to say is Magic the Gathering and I've said this to a bunch of people, it's not a game for kids, right? I really don't like when people talk about Magic and call it like, oh, you're getting upset over a children's card game. It's not a children's card game. It's a card game, which technically speaking, is for people 13 and up. Sure, dude. So, it's not, you know, technically speaking, 13-year-olds are children. Just get shot. You didn't get shot. Honestly. What? Okay, that was very weird. Yes, 13-year-olds are children. Both legally and in terms of brain development, I understand. But they aren't the children that we're talking about. They are still teenagers, right? They still have some level, some faculties that the younger ones don't have, right? So it does bother the crap. Yeah, I did that. I did a stupid there. So it does bother me when people call Magic a children's card game, because it's not, and it's technically not meant to be, because it has graphic violence in the art, as well as sexual themes. Now, obviously, the sexual themes have been toned down a lot recently. I might address that a little bit in a second, but that's not the crux of my issue right now. Oh, fuck you. Cool. Bruh. Do you have armor? You don't have armor. Alright, I'm gonna keep shooting you with my broadheads. Alright. So, the game has sexualized elements in the art. That is just a fact. I guess I kind of have to address it now. Fuck. I don't think that having sexual elements in Magic is tech. Can I kick this door? That's bullshit. I should be able to kick the door down. Thank you. So this is just destroying my durability. Yeah, I guess I have to address it now. I don't see an issue with Magic having sexual themes. Sexual art, yada yada yada. Obviously, I think graphic nudity, graphic depiction of sex, all that stuff, it doesn't make sense to have in the game. Could you guys, like, just come here, please? I didn't suspect that was going to happen. Can you not move anymore? Oh, you can't move anymore. Alright, well, I'll just hit you, I guess. Can't hit you, I guess. So I'll hit you, I guess. There we go. You can't move. I'll, do a defensive tactic, I suppose. I'll destroy this, I guess. Hello! Let's hit you with this. Let's see. No, you, unfortunately, I'm not gonna do any of the things that I want. Cool. I pressed escape as opposed to 1. So yeah, I don't have any issues with that. As long as it's, you know, obviously not graphic anyway. Like I think having good looking people in the game in a bunch of different formats, I don't see why that should really be an issue at all. Shoes. He can't move! Oh, get slaughtered, dude. Okay. F off. Gotta switch. Man, thank you. What are you at? 42? I mean, like... No, that didn't work, apparently. You bleeding or anything? No, just put in a drink. Screw you, dude. I'm sorry that I'm not properly describing things. Difficult to do so in a dungeon. So I should have actually just gone through and tried to find the bison if I wanted to talk about this. But it's... Could you not? Do you have dash? You don't have dash. So we'll shoot you. Oh, damn it! Cool. To summarize, so I don't take forever talking about this. Hello, goodbye. I think that Magic can, and frankly should, include fan servicey stuff to an extent, right? I'm not saying like all the women need to be buxom ladies who, you know, aren't wearing any clothing. But I'm not saying I'm not saying that. Yeah. But I do think that having some of that in the game is fine. Especially if you have fan service for individuals who like males, both conventionally attractive or otherwise. If you have individuals who are attracted to non-binary traits, I guess technically a more accurate term for that would be androgynous traits. Because I don't think you can have non-binary traits. I don't know why they do that, to be honest. Yeah. Shut up, Mr. Mouse. Goodbye. Let's take a swig. Not hurt anywhere, like particularly bad. Sure. Man, I feel like I'm not saying things properly either. Because, you know, I don't want to come across incorrectly, but, like, I think the game can have fan service. I don't think every piece of art needs to be fan service. And I think fan service is different. Like, fan service means different things to different people. So, like, something that one person finds, you know, hot or something, what do you have? So you're probably gonna yell at me. No, you curse me? Alright, you get shot. You're bleeding. Let me do this, and then this. Because now that it's bleeding, so yeah, just die, just get fucked. I don't have a lockpick. No. I don't have a lockpick. This is bullshit. I never use those. Lockpick, please. Stop, though. Donnez-moi lockpick, s'il vous plaît. Well, in our attack mode. Yeah, that's what I thought. I have no idea if I come back, if everything will be the same, but I guess I'll try. Stop it. So while we're heading back to town, I guess I can speak a little bit better. So I think fan service is fine, especially considering like we have a bunch of violence. It's very strange. The United States seems to have a big issue with sexuality, but has like zero issue with violence. And a lot of other countries, especially European countries, you're not getting out of this. They have like no issue with sexuality, but a huge issue with violence. The main place that I can think of is Germany. Germany, I think, and France as well. Germany, from what I can tell, censors their games a lot for violence and gore. But there are just like commercials that'll air in Germany with like full topless ladies, and I don't think I don't think either of those things are necessarily bad. It really depends on the audience that's meant to be consuming that stuff, and it also depends on the extent of that, right? Obviously, it's going to be difficult kind of finding a balance, especially because, as I said earlier, people have different tastes for what isn't obscene, profane, etc., etc. So you can't really just say, this is the way it should be, yada, yada, yada. It's going to come down to personal preference regardless. So I have to go to town and sleep. It's going to come down to personal preference regardless. But I think that, people really underestimate how smart children are. And they also underestimate how, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, first of all, I'm going to grab this shite so I don't forget it. Probably just going to sell this. I'm going to sell that and not actually use a thing on it, because I don't think it matters. I don't think I need another one of these. No, I like the topaz pain resistance. So I'm just going to eat this. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, you gotta pay the innkeeper, bro. Lady, let me sleep here. Thank you. I think that, generally speaking, once again, I'm just I can do it. It's fine. I have to repair my thing. Generally speaking, children are pretty resilient to negativity. For what it's worth, I don't actively study developmental psychology. That's not my field. But from what I have read, what I have heard from those that do, children don't need to be as coddled as they are and still turn out well. Jeez. Sure. Okay. How are my arrows doing? We got 36. 828. I guess I'll get more broadheads. Hello, sir. So, what conclusion does that have me draw? Essentially, I think that people, groups, organizations, etc., like Wizards of the Coast, can kind of chill when it comes to the amount of censorship in the community. So that's one thing, is that having someone who is a grown-ass adult, right? Having someone who's an adult who chooses to, make money off of their, not body per se, make money off of their sexuality, right? There's nothing inherently wrong with that. And if you disagree, bite me, I don't care. This, put all my gold in here. And I think Wizards punishing her for that is dumb, considering the art situation. That said, I don't want people to think that I'm against having the art, because there are two kind of, I mean, there are obviously more, and like things are very nuanced, much more nuanced than I'm describing, but there seem to be competing views on sexuality in general, especially with regards to women, such that there are many who say, and this, for what it's worth, is the camp that I agree with, is women's bodies, if they want to use it to make money, there's no issue there. For what it's worth, I think the same for guys. If you're a good-looking dude, a good-looking non-binary person, if you're a good-looking anyone, and people want to buy, let them buy. Well, if you want to sell, let them sell, and if the people want to buy, let them buy. That has nothing to do with a card game that we play. Now, specifically, she had issues because of the fact that she posted with magic cards or whatever, etc., etc. I'm a profane person. I swear a lot. I have ideas, right, that might not be the prevailing ideas. This is the one I always go to because it is, in my opinion, the least likely to get me flack. I am, generally speaking, pro guns. I've used guns before, recreationally at least. I like them. It's fun. That doesn't mean, right, that there isn't nuance there. For what it's worth, I'm also technically pro gun control. Regardless, that is something that I think that not only other members of the community would disagree with, but it caved in. I didn't know it could do that. Alright, we're never getting those. Let's go search for some bison, I guess. Right, I think even if I'm wearing a Magic the Gathering card, right? Let's say bear with me, this is a little fucked. Let's say I owned a gun. Let's say it was a hunting rifle. Let's say I put Vandal Blast. I did say it was a little fucked. Let's say I put Vandal Blast on that hunting rifle, on my hunting rifle. No, wait, it's even better. I put Prey Upon, right? I put Prey Upon on my hunting rifle, and I post a picture of me in the woods with Prey Upon on my hunting rifle, right? I think it would be absurd for Wizards of the Coast to be like, you are promoting guns, and we disagree with that, therefore get kicked out of the program. That is just ridiculous to me. Because one, I am not a Wizards of the Coast representative. You could argue, theoretically, that being affiliated with the Creator Program shows that you are somehow representing Wizards of the Coast. I would disagree for multiple reasons. The main one being, we're not paid. We do not get anything besides codes for being a part of the Creator Program. We get to be offered inclusion into the single time fits all, he says sarcastically, early access events, and we get codes for our community or for ourselves, which aren't substantial really at all. So we're not representing Wizards, right? Wizards is maybe giving us a pittance in order to continue to promote their stuff. So I think that's ridiculous. Goddamn, I'm just like rambling completely with like zero coherence. I'm very sorry to everyone who's listening to this right now. Man. Where are the bison? Is that closer to Manashire than to Osbrook? So right now I'm here. So I'm gonna go down, I guess. Just want to murder some bison, dude. Like, is it that hard to ask? I don't even remember what I've covered so far. Right. This is the next part I was at. Wizards claims to be very progressive as a company. Wizards... Oh, hello. You have armor on. You do. Alright, well. I'm gonna switch. I'm a 2. I'm a 3. Nope. I'm a... Pass. Oh, hello. Mistake. I just wanted you to get stunned. Oh, and since you're stunned, free turn. Sure, Boulder. Can I hit you? Can I hit you? I still cannot hit you. I guess I could do one of these. You're immobilized. I pass. Oh, you dude, he wasn't bleeding. Awkward. Nice. It's hurt now. And stab. Cool. What else have we got here? I'll take the flatbread. Everything else I don't really want or need. Right. So they claim to be super progressive and stuff. They claim to be very much for women's rights. They claim to be for a lot of things. But when it comes down to it, they really don't practice that, right? In my opinion, more people should be sex positive. Fuck. Where am I? I'm here? I'm gonna dig up the grave. I'm gonna dig up the grave with just my hands. Alright. Well, I'm clicking and making a bunch of loud sounds with my mouse. My apologies. I feel like more people should be more sex positive. I'm not saying that, little, children should be necessarily going onto this person's OnlyFans or wherever she posts the majority of her content, of her explicit content. Man, no, bison. But that doesn't mean that she should be like screwed over out of a program. I mean, for what it's worth, like the thing is, right? It isn't a big deal that she's not in the program anymore, because of the fact that the program doesn't give us as content creators much of anything at all. If it gave us something, then it would hurt more. But I think the reason that it's so egregious, at least coming from an outside perspective, because I'm not the person who got kicked out, so I can only speak so much on this. So I'm by here, I think. So I need to go up, maybe? There's a big splotch in here. The bison are nowhere, dude. But I think a lot of it more is just the fact that, like, they're essentially, not literally, but essentially shaming this person for what they do. I'm studying psychology. There are facts in psychology that many people don't like to hear. If, for what it's worth, I don't study most of the controversial things in psychology, but if I were, and I talked about that in my videos, right, I talked about things that were inherently controversial, I would be worried that Wizards would decide to terminate my any sort of relationship I might have with them, which, for what it's worth, is essentially nothing. Wizards does very little for its creators, unfortunately. Oh, hello. Hey. Well, do you have armor? You don't have armor. Oh, you died. Well. The Pyromancer over there is just like kind of sad. Just no idea what's happening. You don't have armor, do you? No. I'm very sorry. But I had to do it to you. Take some of my bolts back, please. Take some of my bolts back, please. Should eat my non-bread. Yeah, like, it's messed up to have to, like, fear what you do for a living impacting a hobby of yours. Especially one that exposes you to a bunch of people that you're a positive influence on. Right? Like, this person... I've not seen this person, like, a part of a controversy or anything like that. From what I know... I think I'm gonna go up again? I have no idea where I am, dude. From what I know... Right, this person just happens to have an OnlyFans. Like... Okay. What is your point? Like... I don't know, it's just super... Well, we're doing it again. It's super hypocritical of Wizards. To pretend... And honestly, they are pretending. To pretend to care about, you know, progressive issues and things like that. And then just not. Right? I don't know. I was legit thinking about talking to a bunch of male creators. No. I will take this gold nugget, though. I was thinking about talking to a bunch of male creators and being like, hey, we should all just, like, post pictures with magic cards taped to us in sultry poses. But, I feel like that would actually, like, distract from the important discussion. But, you know, I don't know. It's just very frustrating for me. And for what it's worth, I think I should actually talk about this a little bit. Where the hell am I? I should be here, I guess. Because we're going to the tree line. There might be one here. I'm very prudish when it comes to things being public, for what it's worth. There's a lot of, like, the free the nipple campaign and stuff, I disagree with, mostly because some of the arguments, for what it's worth, are, you know, male presenting nipples are fine, but female presenting nipples aren't. I'm of the camp that would like to not see shirtless dudes running around. I would like no one to be shirtless. But, you know, that you know, for what it's worth, that's just me, and that's just, like, my own personal preference. I, generally speaking, don't like other people. I guess full stop. But, you know, I'm not a big fan of public displays of affection. Like, obviously things like kissing and stuff, like hugs and hand-holding, those aren't, in my opinion, those aren't real PDAs. I can't find any fucking bison, dude. So I'm pretty sure I'm here. I'm just gonna yeet myself forward, I guess. Trying to find my way back to camp as I continue to ramble on about nothing in particular. What was I saying? What was I saying? Right. Generally speaking, I'm super prudish in public, but, like, in when it comes to private matters, I'm like, dude, fucking do you. If you know, you and a bunch of consenting adults can do whatever the hell you want, and that's not just like a kind of dismissive way of saying it. It's literally. I think that as long as you are literally not hurting anyone, and everyone involved is consenting, you should be allowed to do whatever. I guess to head something off at the past, there's someone has brought this up, not to me before, but in a conversation similar. talking about like pet play in public. But if you pay attention to what I said, everyone involved would need to consent. And if you're in public, if you're around people, those people likely have not given their consent beforehand, and as such, they would be included, but they wouldn't have consented. So that's how I feel about stuff. It just seems so ridiculous to me. And my legitimate worry is that so for what it's worth, I disagree with a bunch of people who think that magic art is too sexualized. I also disagree. For what it's worth, I disagree, and this actually could come back to bite me in the ass. But I'm in a talky feely mood. I also disagree with a bunch of people who think that it's problematic for a male to draw attractive females. There are plenty of magic artists who are females who draw attractive females. There are plenty of magic artists who are females who draw attractive males. I unfortunately don't know of like any artists who are not cis either of those, drawing not cis either of those. I think I just have to go down here. I disagree with the idea that women in magic art, especially nowadays, are overly sexualized. I think honestly we have a decent balance of like hot dudes and hot ladies. And then like, I don't want to say normal to make it sound weird, but frankly, like hot people, well, let's be honest, hot people aren't technically normal, right? Like if you're hot, you're in the upper echelons. All right, well, you guys. Yeah, so like hot people aren't technically normal. A lot of people, for what it's worth, think Bazri Ket is a snack. I don't. I don't like his haircut, to be honest. I gotta say, love the chin, the chin facial hair going on there. I cannot get behind his actual hair. Hungry again. Let's eat the flatbread. Let's eat this tomato. I just had pizza. I should have got some goat cheese or something. I mean, one recent thing was Keenan. Keenan is a notably pudgy character. Cool. I don't see anything wrong with that. We've got a lot of like normal people on Ravnica. Mengar is a character with dreads. That character looks super normal. The staunch shield mate, sure. dude looks kind of grody to me, but whatevs. Oh, this is another thing that I talked about when I was discussing the Magic 21 spoilers, is that there are two prominent arts, in my opinion, with individuals with prosthetics. And I just thought that was cool. Like, I think it made sense for both of the characters' cards. Like, Tempered Veteran is one. Like, they've been tempered, like, they have lost a limb in battle, makes sense, yada, yada, yada. But that's the type of representation I appreciate as someone who is different, who's in, a minority. I guess technically I'm in several minorities, but whatever. I prefer representation that is essentially subtle to the point of if you're not specifically looking for it, you don't realize it's there. I like when characters are multifaceted characters that aren't just a thing. That's why that's why a lot of people can't really trust wizards, because it does feel like there's token representation in Magic, but not like actual representation. For what it's worth, I think the representation of women is like in a modern sense is like actually just equal to that of men. Same with racial God, words are very hard for me today. I'm sorry. My mind is super foggy right now, I guess. Racial diversity, that's the word. On Magic Art, super diverse. At least it seems that way. My thing, right, is like, for what it's worth, the diversity on Magic Art is kind of dumb. And here's why. Technically speak. Where are all of you fools? Come on. You're all lucky I can't shoot things in town. I can't shoot anything in town. It's bullshit. Whatever. I saved, right? Okay. So I'm just gonna spend a few more minutes just kind of talking about things. Because I'm in a talking mood and I feel like it. And, like, no one watches these videos anyway, so... if I say anything, you know, that would get me in trouble, no one's gonna watch it, so it doesn't actually matter. Yeah, diversity on magic cards doesn't really make sense, because... the planes of magic don't really make sense, because the planes in general are, like, homogenous anyway, and the real world isn't homogenous. You'll see things like Dominaria, and Dominaria has diversity in the fact that there is like a full-on continent that is essentially Africa, things like that. So, you know, for some places it makes sense, and then for other places it doesn't technically. If Ravnica, for example, is like one big city plane, unless you've had... Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, the reason we see these differences amongst people is entirely due to evolution. Evolution because of the climate that we've been a part of, right? The reason people in hot places have more melanin is so that they don't die to being, like, boiled by the sun. And then the people who are in more overcast environments, they don't have that pigment because they need to get as much UV as possible so that they can properly synthesize vitamin D. The genetic information, the genetic code that deals with how we look is minuscule. So, like, the entire idea of race by itself is something that I hate because it's not scientifically, like, a thing. It's not scientifically accurate in terms of the outward appearance being that valuable. Yeah, I just want to cross peer into the abyss. Oh yeah, the other person was Thieves Guild Enforcer. She just has a prosthetic arm. Like, cool, sure. We even have some age representation. It's not a ton for what it's worth, and you know, to an extent, it kind of makes sense. And this is something that I know a lot of people have issue with. But you know, if you're someone who is a soldier like Garrick, who like lives in the wild and hunts, it makes sense that you're fucking huge. Garrick is like 7 foot or something. Dude is swole. It makes sense that Garrick would be, you know, super big. It doesn't make a ton of sense that he would have a high body fat percentage. It also would make sense that older individuals, depending on the specific culture that they're drawing from, aren't going to be depicted in war scenes, because it would make sense for them not to be depicted in war scenes. But that doesn't mean we don't have those characters. I don't know. I don't even know if there's a point to anything I'm saying anymore. I don't know if anything that I've said in this video comes across properly at all. Essentially, I'm just really annoyed at Wizards for multiple things. The main thing, right, is like either like be progressive or shut the fuck up. Like, and I'm not saying necessarily that they need to be progressive. Like, they can stick to their guns and just say, yeah, we don't think that sex work is something that should at all be related to Magic the Gathering. Like, if they say that, I would then expect them to really puritanize the Magic the Gathering art. For what it's worth, it's not something I would like to have done. You know, not only would we lose Beefcake is for guys. Is there a girl version of that? Cheesecake? Is that? I don't know. Let's say that it is. We would lose Cheesecake. Like, I guess I'm just gonna use Planeswalkers. Like, I don't know if there are any Cheesecake Planeswalkers. Liliana? Yeah, Liliana. We'd lose Cheesecake like Liliana, but we'd also lose Beefcake like, I guess Sarkin? Sorin isn't really something I would call a beefcake, but you all know what I mean. You know, we'd lose our waifus, husbandos, and spousus, Which is just, that would disappoint a lot of people. Not just cis white dudes. It would disappoint a lot of people. You know, if Wizards stopped making hot art of Soren, I know several people on my Discord server alone who would be very disappointed. Same with hot art of someone like Narset. For what it's worth, Narset isn't like Narset is still someone who people what is that called? So people, you can see I'm really out of my element talking about this. People really like Narset in that, like, they find her attractive and stuff, but Narset's like never been depicted in a provocative way. Not that I can recall, at least. So that's just type of the stuff I'm talking. I'm just gonna shut up now. I feel kind of discouraged at this point. Wizards, just, it's annoying. And then the second thing I'm annoyed about is that Wizards, like, it just feels like they don't actually care about their creators, and they don't realize the value that the creators bring. And this isn't even about myself, necessarily. Obviously, I would love if I got, you know, more opportunities from Wizard. But then, of course, like, then I'd worry I'd just be a token. Because of what Wizards has done in the past, that it just doesn't make me think that they would care about me for me. It'd be like, oh, this dude's brown, let's bring him on. Like, no, I would want Wizards to approach me because they think I have a good voice, or they think I am knowledgeable about the game. You know, I've been playing this game for so long. Longer than many. Shorter than many. But, I don't know. This is a Stoneshard video. I don't know what I'm talking about magic on here. I'm sorry, everybody. If you'd like to join the patrons and support the show, and supporting me from going insane, because, you know, Wizards, you know, Magic the Gathering is the main thing that I do here, and, as I said, Wizards doesn't truly support their content creators. They just give us a few codes. They don't even give us a few codes. Like, we have to work for it, and if we don't constantly do those things, then we get kicked out of the program anyway. So, I don't know. What the hell is I talking about? I don't know. Like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. I'm sorry for the downer. Until next time, all will be one.